Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Enforcer Athletics. My name is Bram. So first of all, I know this video is late. I apologize for that, but that has a reason. So I'm not gonna lie, um, I'm not doing that great right now. Um, it's I've been noticing. I've been having a very noticeable decline, very noticeable dip in my mental sense of well-being lately. And I mean, I've never felt awesome, but there's periods where I do all right, and then there's periods where I don't do so all right, and right now I'm not doing so all right. Actually, to the point where I wasn't sure whether there was going to be a video at all this week. And I kind of hate to say that. I kind of hate to admit that, especially because of my, hard promise of at least one video a week out on the channel. And it's really not in my plans to let down on that promise anytime soon. But this week I was just feeling so uninspired, unmotivated. My stress levels lately have been unhealthy, to say the least, and I didn't want to put out another redundant video where it's just me sitting and talking for 10 minutes about some generic subject. But then I kind of came to the conclusion, I realized, I'm not the only one that deals with this. I'm not the only one that's dealing with this. As a matter of fact, there is a lot of people out there dealing with struggling with mental health. And nowadays especially, it is unfortunately becoming increasingly commonplace for people to not do that amazing. So I felt like I did feel kind of obligated to make this video, and not just to, I don't want to ventilate my problems to you guys. That's not my intent. It's not my aim with this video. But I guess I just kind of want to make it a topic of discussion. Relay my experience and my perspective on that to you guys. Just share, my point of view, my feelings, how I'm feeling, how I'm keeping myself during situations like that. So that maybe if one of you out there is dealing with the same thing, that you might be able to relate and maybe get something out of it in some way. And I unfortunately cannot tell you guys what you should do when you feel like that, because if I could, I wouldn't be in this situation myself. I wouldn't be feeling like this myself. However, what I guess I can do is, speaking from my past experience, things that I've done, ways that I've conducted myself in situations, like very similar to this one, where I'm feeling the way I'm feeling now, where I've just made missteps. And one of those, I actually want to go into a little bit of a story time here, is my experiences with substance use, or more substance abuse. There's been times in the past where I feel comparable to the way I'm feeling now, which is, you know, suboptimal to say the least. And whenever you feel down, when you feel shit, you know, it's in human nature to want to alleviate that, you know, to want to not, you know, to want to not have to deal with that. And, you know, what I, at the time, this was a fair while ago, but what I at the time thought was a good patch for that is drugs. Now, I've never been addicted to any substance in particular. You know, I've never really been hooked on anything. Luckily, you know, I always quit soon enough to not, you know, to not get the chance to become really addicted to something in particular. But there's one time in particular, and I guess this is the most relevant, most relevant story for this video, is the time that I took it too far on amphetamine. And so the situation was like this. I was feeling terrible. I was feeling like an absolute piece of shit. I really wasn't feeling it anymore. And I thought it was a good idea. Hey, you know what? I just want to get rid of this. I just want to not feel like this. Even if it's just for a little bit. I just want something to make me feel better in any way, shape, or form. So I knew a guy that sold, and I called him up and I was like, "Hey man, you home? You know, I want some shit." And he was like, "Yeah, sure, come along, you know, come by." So I went there. I took like $20 with me, and I remember I was doubting whether I should get 5 grams or 10 grams. I was gonna share a little bit with a friend of mine, and you know, the rest was gonna be for me. So I was kind of doubting. I was like, you know, should I do 5 grams or 10 grams? And you know, I went by this guy's place, and you know, I told him, I was like, I'm just doubting whether I should get 5 or 10. He's like, what, you having a party? You know, what's the occasion? And I was like, nah, man, I'm just feeling absolutely terrible. I just don't. I'm just not seeing it anymore, man. I just need something to kind of lift my senses. And you know, this guy, this drug dealer, he told me, he was like, bro, let me tell you one thing, man. I mean, I'm gonna sell you your drugs. Like, I'm a drug dealer. This is my livelihood. This is how I make money. So I'm not gonna not sell you drugs. But what you're telling me is, simply put, not a good idea. And honestly, like if you were a good friend of mine, I'd tell you that, you know, I wouldn't sell you this. You know, I wouldn't want you to to use this garbage for those purposes, because it's never gonna make it better. And well, to everyone's big surprise, this guy was absolutely right. So I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm just gonna go with 5 grams. You know, because obviously, you know, in that mind frame, I was like, you know, am I gonna, you know, I'm gonna use 5 tonight, and then, you know, maybe use the other half for like productivity purposes later on. And there was this other guy there at this drug dealer's place, and he was like, man, you know, I've told myself the same thing, but it's usually just gonna go down all in one night. So I was like, yeah, you're right. Let me just go with 5. And with the 20 bucks I had on me, I could have easily gotten 10 grams. I'm sorry. Because this was like a gram for $1.50 or $2 or something. And I'm pretty sure that had I gone with the 10-gram option, that I would not have been sitting here in this chair today. Because what ended up happening, as I said, I shared a little bit with my friend. I think like, I don't know, a gram or a gram and a half, and the rest I just all downed by myself. And I don't want to make it too intense of a story here, but by the end of that, I was in bad shape. I was in very bad shape. And it's honestly, for me to recount that situation is honestly kind of a little bit disturbing. So I don't want to pull up too much details of that. But I ended up downing it all, and by the end of it, I was in terrible condition. And I've felt like in that time where you're on it, you don't feel anything. The only thing you feel is, you're flooding your brain with synthetic euphoria. So you're not feeling how terrible you're really feeling, and you're not feeling what this terrible garbage is doing to you either. All you feel is that you're feeling great at that moment, because your brain is flooded with all of these chemicals. But then afterwards, there's a debt to pay, because now there's this dopaminergic black hole essentially that you've created, by absolutely overloading your brain with dopamine for like so many hours on end. And I just felt violently ill after that, and that lasted for a good 2 weeks, where I was already, before I'd touched this stuff, I was already to the point where I felt so terrible mentally that it honestly made me physically feel ill as well. But then after this whole ordeal, man, I was fucked. And this lasted for a good 2 weeks. Like the first few days, I couldn't even drive my car. I was so like, I don't know, I had no reaction time. I was I had this really weird thing where I kept like psychotically mumbling to myself, and I just couldn't help it. It was really weird. Like, I kept talking to myself the entire time. Like, I was just absolutely rambling, and I couldn't stop. It was like a Tourette's almost, where I just could not stop talking to myself constantly in like a whispering voice. That was really hairy, man. I was really scared. And anyways, so as fucked up as that experience was, I guess there was a positive takeaway from that situation, and that is that I learned that no matter how awful you feel, no matter how much like a piece of shit you feel, using stuff like that to mask it, it's never gonna make it better, ever. And I guess that's relevant because I'm in a situation right now where I feel comparable to how I was feeling then. And sometimes that thought pops into your head, like, man, I just, just anything to make me feel a little bit better right now. But yeah, I've really learned from that, and that has absolutely 100% cured me, from ever doing nonsense like that again, because in the end, it never makes it better. It always just makes it worse afterwards, and you have won nothing. You have gained nothing from that. So, yeah, that's, I guess, just something I wanted to share. I hope the story was not all too intense or or boring for you guys. And yeah, honestly, all I still want to say to you guys is that, if there's a situation where you're feeling like that, where you're not seeing the purpose of things anymore, and you feel so terrible that you just feel ill, first of all, don't use drugs, don't use alcohol, don't abuse substances to try and mask the way you're feeling. That's never the answer. Talk to someone that you love, that cares about you, that you can talk to. Just find some support in your network, and if you don't have a network, if you don't have anybody to talk to, and you feel like that, and by the way, I want to make very clear, this is not a sales pitch for any of our services or anything like that, but if you're feeling like that and you're watching this video and you too feel that like there's no purpose anymore, or you're just feeling really beat up, feeling really down, and you have no one to talk to, you can always write us at Force for Athletics. We have a phone number, email, whether it's DM on social media or in the comments, it doesn't matter. You can reach out to us, and I will respond, because I just think this is a very important subject. And I know what it's like to feel just terrible. And if there's anybody that I could help with that in any way, I want to do that. So yeah, that's as I said, that's not a sales pitch for any of our services, because I do believe in helping others without directly expecting something in return, because I think that's just important. Sometimes you help each other along, and it just it works out better for everybody. So that was it for this week's video. Now it might be so that there could be 1 or 2 weeks where there's no video. I know there's not that many people watching right now anyway. But yeah, if that's the case, know that we're not slacking off. We're not we're not gone. It's just that we're actively working behind the scenes to get a little bit better of a content strategy going. Right now, at the moment, we are. So yeah, if you guys would be so kind, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video. You can follow us on our social media. Links are all in the description. I hope you guys are doing well out there, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.